Good morning, everybody. Let's get settled as best we can. Not much room in here, which is great. Thank you all for coming. And welcome to EphVoices, Perspectives on Playing in Purple, an event hosted by the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. We hope you enjoy the great speakers over here. And we also like to encourage you to join us afterward for continued conversation and lunch in Dodd Main Dining Room. Head football coach Aaron Kelton is going to kick things off for us. So, Coach Kelton.
I'll be brief. They gave us 5 minutes or so that's going to be tough for me, but I'll make it work. First, welcome to everybody. Thank you for having me on the panel and to just share a few words with you. Okay, when I was asked to speak at the Claiming Williams event, I instantly was overjoyed to just be a part of such a program. This program signifies a lot of what I stand for and why I do what it is that I do. Being able to work with great young people, influence people in different stages of their life, and being able to, I guess, have a say in the direction, the positive things that people do are very important to me. To have the opportunity to speak to you today on February 2nd in a month that many across the nation will recognize as Black History Month is extremely special. But I need you to understand that for me and many others who walk the halls and fields at Williams, every day and every month is history to them, to us, to everyone who's here at Williams. When I think back to when I was hired here and the many phone calls I received, a lot of the questions from people were, you're the first African-American head football coach in the NESCAC and at Williams College. What does that mean to you? Certainly, there are times where, I never struggled with the answer, but there were times where it forced me to have to think about who I was and what I stand for on a regular basis. Many of you out there right now truly don't have an understanding of what that burden and what that feels like to have to carry those kinds of things with you each and every day wherever you go. Fair or unfair, I knew that I had to one, answer the questions, but two, do things in a special way, because the eyes are always on me. I knew that the bar was set high just being here at Williams and the expectation, but I think that when you become a role model, when you become a person who's out in front of a program, such as a football program, and then when you become the first at something, that has an extra bit of weight that you have to carry around. I knew I had to show the doubters then and have to continue to show the doubters that I'm the person for the job. Every day I have to, I feel like I have to go out and prove that the decision to hire me was the best decision. I had to win over my team and many of the players and their families because, quite honestly, many of them never had an African-American coach, never mind a head coach. And that to me was something that was very important and something that I continue to work at every day. Needless to say, there were many historical moments that happened in my first season and this year, from players getting all kinds of all-conference accolades and getting academic awards, to being named, once I was named the head coach, us going undefeated in our first season, being named Coach of the Year and having had some experiences that hadn't happened here at Williams in a long time. But for me, I felt like having these young guys and getting them to be on a path where it is that they would work together, accept each other for who they are, understand the differences, and continue to build on that Those were the things that were the most important to me. Okay, every win, sure, they're great. We don't appreciate losses here at Williams, and we recognize that. But for me, to see my guys go out and care about each other, to care about the coaches who work with them and their families, and then to go out and do things in the community, continue to be very important to us, and something that we'll continue to work at. I realized, during the process of when I was hired and even today, that there are many important factors that have helped in these historical moments, or this historical moment that we've had in our program. Having a great staff that was able to buy into my philosophy when I came. Having great players who accepted the leadership and wanted to win. Having an administration who believed in Aaron Kelton and the things that I stood and stand for. And then my own ability to know and believe, my knowing and believing that I believe my ability to lead this program were some key factors in all the success that we've had. But we don't rest on that laurel. And part of that is because each and every day, I evaluate who I am and the direction that we're going and what it is that we need to do to be better. The willingness for people to accept me and all that I brought to the table and my differences is what has made my program and this moment for me today very special. Somebody thought outside the box and believed in Aaron Kelton. Someone knew that it was time to expand on the history of Williams College and Williams football. Someone wasn't afraid of the differences and believed in change. Being the first African-American head football coach at Williams is history and is an honor. But for me, the honor is to speak here today to you, to work with such great young people, to be able to tell people all over the world that I'm the head football coach at Williams College, and to be able to share a few thoughts with you. Williams is a place of history, and the ability to understand and recognize and accept differences remains a work in progress. Let us never forget about the incident that occurred earlier this year, okay, and how we can all work to make these situations better. It won't be the last time it happens at Williams. So let's not think that it will be. Is it despicable? Is it something that we shouldn't feel proud of? Certainly. But it won't be the last time, okay? And what we have to understand is we can't be afraid to be able to speak up when we see somebody doing something wrong, when we know that something that's about to happen isn't something that's positive. We're here at Williams, and Williams is a special place because we do have an understanding of what the differences are, okay? We do have an understanding and a belief in the good in people and what they're able to achieve and do. The ability to understand, recognize, and accept differences in people remains a work in progress. And with an open mind, we can make a difference every day. We all come with these unique differences, and it's these differences that not only make us special, but shape who we are in our thought process. We all understand and accept, if we all understand and accept these qualities, each of us, that each of us has, when we do, Williams will become an even more special place. I really believe that this place is truly a special place. I've been to at a few different colleges. They're all different, but Williams is truly a special place. You have something that is a gift. It is a gift. Somebody has given you this place and all the greatness that it has. Remember, in closing, I'll just tell you, remember that every day here at Williams is a day of history for somebody, okay? Again, I mentioned to you about it being Black History Month. For me, Black history is every day. And I thank you for the opportunity for being able to just share a few words with you. I think I'm less than 5 minutes, which is pretty good. And I want you to, I truly want you to know that coming out today and being a part of Claiming Williams is just one of the many steps that the college and the administration are working with you to make this place an even better place, and for you to have this experience and to take it with you wherever you go. Be sure to do something, an act of kindness for somebody, okay? Because I think that that's very important. Do an act of kindness. Doesn't have to be something huge. For guys, it could be something as easy as holding the door for a young lady, okay? I wouldn't carry their books, because at Williams, y'all have a lot of books. And for ladies, you know, you just do something. For some of these guys around here, they don't get a girl to say hello to them, so maybe just saying hi would be enough. Okay? Thank you very much.
Hey everybody. It's true. Just nice hello would be nice. Just kidding. Just kidding. So I'm of course a bit nervous. My name is Chris Lee. I'm a sophomore. When I'm on the cross country team, and when I go to the line for cross country during right before a race, I just tell myself, just get to the line, you know, with the nerves and everything. But once I get to the line, all I have to do is sort of run. And so all the adrenaline stuff sort of works, but I guess I've been speaking my whole life, so this will be okay. Okay, so I want to talk this morning about how my experience with the cross-country and track team here at Williams has both deepened my school experience as well as allowed me to deal with personal adversity. I wear purple with passion. My experience at Williams has been all that I'd hoped for when I applied. I had an amazing entry experience, D2 Pride. I met some great friends at the MSRC and various clubs like Pure Health. I've loved most of my classes and can tolerate the others. I'm now living in Courier, and I'm probably spending way too much money at the EphVoices because of it, but in general, I'm happy and consider my time thus far as a success. Coming to Williams, I thought I was more diverse than I really was. Sophomore year of high school, I developed bipolar depression, and since then, I've been managing the illness and constantly attempting to create a balanced and healthy life for myself. I did not know until recently that actually 50% of college students in America report being so depressed at one point in their time that they cannot function, with 15% meeting the criteria for clinical depression. So, therefore, though I still consider myself different in some respects, I don't really know if I can consider my adversity a diversity. Regardless, I would like to now talk about how athletics has played a part in dealing with a mental illness such as bipolar depression. Personally, when I consider what it means to be a Williams athlete, I think about the two shoes I wear. There's my spikes and my trainers. This is to say that there's competing and then there's participating. Competing means winning, or doing everything in your team's power to win. And as Eves, we often do win, which is why we get the Director's Cup. Being a Williams competitor for me is all about turning my passion for the Williams community into strength necessary to be bigger, faster, and stronger than myself, and hopefully than the competition. This past fall, I had the best season of my life. I ended the season as the first runner on a team that earned 6th place at Nationals. I got to travel to Oshkosh, Wisconsin with 7 other of my teammates and with 8 of the girls' team. This was amazing. I had never competed on the national level, and I had never spent so much time, so much intimate time with such intensely prepared but lighthearted and fun people. We talked, we laughed, we played bananagrams in the hotel prior to the race, and afterwards we celebrated the culmination of the season with reckless abandon to Katy Perry and back to Indiana. The most special part of the trip was that 35 of my teammates made the road trip in cars out to Wisconsin. Our men's team has 45 people deep, and only the top 7 run in the last race. So the rest of the team, they finagled their class schedules, they postponed studying, and they drove literally 1,029 miles to Oshkosh. They brought banners, they brought noisemakers, they brought spirit and pride and energy, and they brought body paint, and we made team memories that will hold as long as I live. I will never throw away this pair of spikes, because that moment of being a Williams competitor on that day was an experience that I will never forget. Now, regarding my ASICS trainers, they symbolize the story of participation. Margaret Lee Rubeck said that happiness lies not in the destination, but the journey itself. I see participation in athletics as something very different from competing. It's about showing up to practice day in and day out and being a constant and reliable member of a team. It's about doing things you love, like racing, as well as things you may not love, like physical therapy, pool practice, and morning lifts. Participation in athletics, therefore, in my opinion, is about one thing: being committed fully to a team. Being committed to a team. Therefore, even as a one-sport Williams athlete, I wear 2 different shoes, and this is key because both satisfy a personal need. On one hand, competition, with its glorious moments at the championship time, provides me with a goal, a thing to fall asleep thinking about, as well as a thing to hold closely whenever I'm feeling depressed. I remember one distinct time last winter. I came down with mono at the end of winter study. I found myself desperately sad and dejected. I felt alone, I felt guilty for no reason, and I felt generally helpless. But the goal of once again putting on the spikes and running 4 blistering laps on the rubber track gave me a purpose and a promise that there might be at least one thing in the spring worth continuing for. Then, on the other hand, athletics, in terms of the lifestyle of committing oneself to the team, it gave me the day in and day out routine. With bipolar, particularly since the moods are often irregular and changing, you need something to even the keel. Showing up to practice every day at the same time, seeing the same friendly faces every day at the same time, even feeling the same sort of sweaty pain every day at the same time, no matter what, was consistent. I love the duality of being an athlete. I get a joy from both, from wearing both shoes. But I get the greater benefit from participating, from the reliability of being on a team. Running is simple in the sense that you have a collection of comrades who all want the same thing: to be faster. On any given day, there may be only a quarter of the team who's feeling quote-unquote good and actually wants to be there. There may be a quarter of the team, for example, that can tolerate Pete Farwell's puns. Then on the next day, there's a different quarter. But the beauty is that there will always be a quarter that will consistently pull up the team morale, and the team will be strong every day. I need that as a person. I need that particularly in the winter when my mood is often down, and I find myself left with illogical guilt and lack of hope. I need running because I need to be on a team. I know that being on a team is not necessarily exclusive to sports. In this winter study, I spent time getting certified for peer health call and walk-in because I found the same team atmosphere there. However, for me, athletics has always been the deepest foundation in my life, which is why I wear purple with pride. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Desiree and I am a junior, and an interesting fact about me is that in high school I did a bodybuilding competition. Okay. Whew. Okay. My senior year of high school found me completely enamored by Brown University. Multiple day trips to meet my future triple jump coach and to get accustomed to my new town filled my free weekends. However, my sentiment wasn't reciprocated in an acceptance letter, and September and September found me as a college scholar in the honors program at Baruch College in Manhattan. Although I did not foresee myself as a Bearcat at Baruch, I made the most of my experience and joined the cross-country team, since there was no track and field team. In high school, doing cross-country puts you in better shape for the indoor and outdoor seasons. But if I knew the toll running 10 miles at a time takes on one's fast twitch muscles, I would have thought twice about running cross-country. However, I'm ecstatic I did because the family formed and the good friends gained are awesome. Two-a-day practices definitely bring you close to people. Outside of track, both of my honors classes and regular classes and the community service organizations I was a member of allowed me to meet some of my dearest friends. Baruch wasn't in my planned future, but I am grateful and fortunate for the experiences I had there. Amidst my love for Baruch, I realized my longing to experience something different from the city I called home for the last 17 years, or now it's 19 years. A campus in the middle of nowhere where I could run track in the open air and help people I would never otherwise have met was calling my name. It was my duty to find it. I looked into transferring schools within my fall semester, but the liberal arts schools that piqued my interest only accepted incoming sophomores and juniors. I planned my following semester with transferable classes to make the transition smoother. Coupled with my coursework, I completed several transfer applications. In April, I became a newly born Eph in the class of 2013. I sent in my deposit for Williams even before I visited the campus. Brian, a current Eph and friend from my high school, had been urging me to apply for months. So when I was accepted, I knew I would love it and that I couldn't say no. When I did visit, Williams was everything I thought it would be, and these last 3 semesters, actually 2 because I went abroad, have been really awesome. I love that Williams allows me to enjoy all the wonders of living in the country, surrounded by beautiful mountains and fresh air, while not being far away from my home in New York City. I have taken advantage of the surrounding treasures, from horseback riding about a mile from campus to hiking up Pine Cobble to see the sunrise on Friday mornings. When there is a driver free, I go to North Adams to deliver leftover food from our dining halls. On Saturdays, when I don't have a meet, I volunteer at the Habitat for Humanity home in North Adams, and then I drive to Canaan, New York to mentor young men. When I actually am on campus, I can be found singing in the gospel choir, at a Soka or Minko meeting, having a conversation with a member of our awesome faculty about how I'm going to save the world, or just rolling around in the Falks yard as I wrestle a bag from Casey in our game of fetch. I am a student athlete at Williams, and here I am more than just an athlete. I am the crazy track runner who is always on the go because another volunteer opportunity just came up, and I have to walk Casey before I leave campus to save the world. And where the time comes from to do all this in schoolwork and sleep is beyond me. My admiration for Williams also runs deeper than my surroundings. It stems from the plethora of extracurricular activities I am a member of, especially track and field. We all know the camaraderie that comes with being a member of a team and how great it feels to have someone cheer you on when you can't go anymore, or to have someone to cheer on just to give them an extra boost of energy. Track and field is no different. We are a big team, numbering close to 100, but we don't hesitate to support one another at practice, on the track, in the stand pit, or in the weight throw circle. Hearing the screams and shouts from my teammates was very important this past weekend because I ran for the first time since returning from abroad. I practiced daily while in Madrid, but I was still unsure of myself going into the meet. I shared this hesitation with my coaches and teammates, but it was decided this would be best because I was ready, and because it would be great to see where I was compared to last year. Head bopping to blaring music, I was pumped up going to the meet. The warm-up went really well. I was ready. After cheering for my teammates who went in heats before, I sat in my block start position and waited for the bang of the starter's gun. My mind and legs knew what to do, but after the first lap, I could go no more. The lead I had quickly vanished, and I crossed the finish line running slower than I ever had done. Dejected, I solemnly walked to my clothes and tried to seal the tears. Epic fail. I looked a hot mess, but there were my teammates. I really did. I looked a hot mess, but there were my teammates to console me. I feel really disappointed in my performance because I know I let them and my coaches down, but I can still hear every word of encouragement that kept me going, regardless if my legs had had enough. After wallowing in my sorrows, I talked to my sprint coach, who surprisingly was not disappointed because he also knew I just died on the track. Rather than being short with me, he talked about his own experiences with track, and soon my wet cheeks were pushed up as I began to be my normal smiley self. Track is a huge reason I came to Williams because I want to be a part of an organization that cares for its athletes. The coaching staff is nothing short of awesome, and outside of track, they are great friends and mentors. Between transitioning from high school to college and then after switching my college, track has remained. Although my times have increased and I no longer triple jump, my high school passion, the family the track team provides has remained. Although I didn't enter my second year with an entry of 20 young adults, I do have a posse of about 100, which I say beats 20 any day. As a transfer, I did not come to Williams with those of my year, figuring out everything for the first time. I came in as an outsider, trying to fit in with the already made groups from first year entries, from classmates, and from teammates. I didn't have the cool sweatshirts and the t-shirts other people of my years sported proudly, but I did have my own entry of first years from Baruch. I don't believe I missed out by transferring here, but I do have a unique college story. I am blessed with friends at two great institutions, and to me, I have a pretty sweet deal. Coming to Williams as a transfer isn't easy, however. I was thrown into the mix of second year with 5 other transfers who were also new to everything. We were 5 sophomores and 1 junior in the bodies of first years. I believe discovering Williams on our own without the support of a JA or other new first years is a bit daunting, but each of our personalities has enabled us to find our niche. Williams is a place that has welcomed me, and I am truly at home. My outgoing personality has allowed me to walk President Falk's dog, volunteer all over North Adams and Canaan, New York, and to travel to Central America and Europe. I have taken trips to New York City and DC with various groups on campus, and I am exposed to opportunities other students have no idea exist. I am no longer defined as someone who transferred or someone who is on the track team. Williams has presented me with opportunities to be so much more. I love Williams. I really do. The people, the resources, the community, the atmosphere. Williams is amazing and definitely the place for me. To put it simply, Williams and I are one.
Thanks for coming to this session. I'm Noah Sandstrom, a faculty member in the psychology department and the neuroscience program. I'm also the chair of the athletics committee, and as such, I have a fair amount of involvement with athletics. I'm not much of an athlete. I used to say I was a basketball player because I played in a noon hoops game with a bunch of other middle-aged guys. But since it's been 10 years since I last stepped on the court, I'm probably not justified in making that claim any longer. A year or so ago, I thought I'd try swimming, a good low-impact exercise. But when the student lifeguard kept getting up and reaching for the rescue ring, unsure whether I was drowning or just a really bad swimmer, I decided that probably wasn't the sport for me either. These days, about the only exercise I get is when I run from my office on the 3rd floor of Bronfman to my lab in the basement of Morley. But despite the fact that I'm not much of an athlete, I can say with confidence that athletics are a very important part of my life at Williams. They've improved my Williams experience and have definitely helped me to claim Williams in my own way. So I thought I'd take a couple of minutes to share a few of the ways that athletics have been important to me. Pride as a faculty member. I'm proud of our athletics program and my association with it, but it's not just because our athletic teams are amazingly successful. Don't get me wrong, I do love it when we win, but victories are all the more satisfying when we win with student athletes. Our student athletes are smart, creative, multidimensional. In the last 2 years alone, I've had 3 national champions doing independent research in my lab, and countless others in my classes. So yes, I'm proud to be involved with an athletics program that has won the Director's Cup every year since I arrived on campus. I know correlation does not mean causation, but I'm just saying. But what makes those victories truly worthy of celebration, and what underlies my sense of pride in our program, are the students who contribute to the success. Community. There's another incredibly important way in which Williams Athletics has impacted my life, and that's through the involvement of our student athletes in the broader Williamstown community, specifically their involvement with kids. I have 2 kids, a daughter in 2nd grade and a son in 5th grade. And there's no denying that they and their friends look up to Williams athletes. Like it or not, our student athletes are role models, and thankfully, they embrace that opportunity to make a positive impact on the young people who admire them. So far this year, my kids have been coached by Williams basketball players. They've been taught to swim by members of the swim team. They spent an afternoon working out with the men's soccer team. These groups volunteered their time to provide a great experience for kids in the community. I know other athletes have donated their time and energy to work with kids on the playing fields or in the classroom at the elementary school. This willingness to serve as a positive role model in our community makes me feel so privileged to be a part of Williams College. Of course, the kids aren't the only winners here. I imagine it's more fun for our athletes to play when there's a group of boys with "Go Ephs" painted on their chests, or a dozen 1st graders cheering on "Miss Harding, Miss Harding" at a women's basketball game. So those are just 2 ways in which Williams Athletics have shaped my experience. By generating a sense of pride in the ability of our student athletes to achieve so much in the class and lab as well as athletics, and by enriching the lives of so many kids in our community in positive and supportive ways. But there's another important experience that Williams Athletics provides for me, and that, simply put, is fun. Sports are fun. Yes, they provide stability and structure in a challenging world. Yes, they provide a community of supportive peers. Yes, they provide another side to our multifaceted selves. But sports also provide a forum to have fun. Sports are fun. It's fun to play them. It's fun to watch them. It's fun to let go of some inhibitions and scream wildly. It's fun to throw your hands up in the air and celebrate an amazing play. Fun things make life better. And for me, sports are fun. College is stressful, for students to be sure, and also for faculty. It can be a roller coaster of experiences. One moment you're climbing high, and the next you're barreling down. You're jerking left and you're tearing right. But sometimes you just need to jump on that roller coaster. I think you know where I'm going with this. Sometimes you have to just strap yourself in. Come on. You got to strap yourself in. Ready? Enjoy the thrill of the ride. Here we go. So in conclusion, Williams Athletics inspires pride in our bright, engaged, multidimensional students. It provides my children with wonderful role models who care about their community, and it provides me with countless opportunities to have fun. And these are just a few of the many ways in which athletics positively impacts my life here and has helped me to claim Williams. Thank you.
Of course, I have to follow that guy, so. My name's Grace Rehnquist, and I'm a junior on the women's basketball team. Yeah, that's right. So my dad got me hooked on basketball. He played all his life, all through high school and college, and until 1995, he held his school's record for the all-time leading scorer. My dad graduated in 1977. He loves to remind me that when he was in college, freshmen weren't allowed to play varsity and they didn't have a three-point line. So I do have to give him some credit even though he went to Amherst. A big reason why I chose to come to Williams was not only its academic excellence, but the basketball team and its program. Though that sounds superficial, it's true. I'm obsessed with winning. And when I was in second grade, I played in a rec basketball and I would cry every time my team lost. My mom had to remind me that it doesn't really matter who wins a game when the score is 10-8. As a senior in high school, playing Williams basketball meant winning. Now, as a junior in college, I realize it means a lot more. Basketball was never something I just did growing up. It was a part of who I was. I spent countless hours at the gym, went to hundreds of practices and games, traveled across the country with my AAU team every spring and summer just to play. It brought me real happiness. I never felt better than I did when I was on the court, especially when my team was winning. Everything else in my life melted away, and I was in control. Basketball made me feel good about myself. But as I got older, it became harder to control what was going on outside of basketball. High school is hard for everyone in very different ways, but I struggled a lot. I lost myself. I was very unhappy. Soon, basketball became my only escape from me. I struggled to get out of bed each morning, and not in the same way that every tired high schooler does. It was a struggle for me to put on a happy face and be the person people expected me to be. I always was, and still am today, a person who is loud and outgoing and loves to make people laugh. And that's probably the grace a lot of you know. Making people laugh is addicting to me. It's sad. I used this humor in high school to mask everything I truly felt. But it was exhausting to be that person. It was exhausting to hide my true feelings. And it was exhausting to be the grace I was expected to be. I was not happy. I was depressed. And being funny and being depressed don't go hand in hand. I told myself this depression wasn't real. It was something I was unwilling to face. I never wanted to let anyone down. I was always hard on myself, but I guess really I never wanted to let myself down. I told myself it wasn't real. I told myself it was a phase or a bad week. Well, bad weeks turned into bad months, and bad months turned into a bad year, and I think you all get the picture. Eventually, things got so hard that basketball was no longer an escape. Something I loved so much growing up became a job, and something I truly resented. I began to lose passion for the game that I loved. I used to be able to compartmentalize bad games or an off night, and did not let those feelings carry out into my everyday life. But soon, bad games or off nights fueled the fire that was inside me. I almost quit basketball my senior year of high school, which meant I would not play here. I became engulfed in the sadness and the frustration that I almost let go of the one thing that ever truly made me happy. I got through my senior year of basketball and of high school, not without the help from my loved ones and a lot of guidance. I finally had to admit to myself that I needed help. I finally had to put myself into therapy, the spring that's supposed to be the best of your life. I could no longer just get by. Then I came here to Williams, and I started to wear purple. I found reasons to love the game again. My team, the coaching staff, the Williams community, and the greater Williamstown community gave me those reasons. I have never been surrounded by a more supportive group of people who not only care about me as a basketball player, but as a person. My team embodies every reason to love the game. In each of them, I see what it means to love basketball. To go to practice every day and give 110%, to go into every game and fight like it's your last. The excitement and energy that goes into everything we do as a team makes me remember the excitement and energy I used to get every time I touch the ball. Nothing gets me more pumped than to see Jenny Harding go 7 for 10 from the three-point line or see Jill Greenberg score her 1,000th point. My teammates don't play basketball because they have to. They play basketball because they love it. The community supporters of my team have given me even more reasons to continue playing. Nothing feels better than to walk down Spring Street and have someone completely random wish me luck in my next game or ask me how our latest practice went, or even better, to know my name and ask me how my classes are going. Interactions like these make me realize how fortunate I am to be here. It makes me proud to be a basketball player, to be recognized as part of a long-standing tradition that has made a lasting impression on our community. Every time I step on the court in my purple jersey, I try to make those people proud. As most Williams students, I didn't want to be known for just doing one thing. I wanted to be involved outside of athletics. I saw a great opportunity for this in the JA system. So last spring, I applied. But unfortunately, it did not pan out. I came to junior year thinking it'd be really hard to not be a JA and not be able to go abroad and to just do what I've done for the past 2 years. But my teammates encouraged me to try out for the improv group Combos Up. I have always loved comedy and making people laugh, so there's no harm in trying out. Though I had no real hope that I'd actually make it. I have made it, thank you. My teammates have been so supportive. They understand this is something I needed in my life. I needed stimulation outside the world of basketball. My teammates come to all of my shows and always tell me how funny I was, regardless of whether or not that's true. If it weren't for the support of my teammates, I never would have tried out for Combos Up and never would have been able to experience my Williams to the fullest. They see how happy doing improv makes me, and that makes them happy. In high school, I took basketball, not just the game, but what the game represented, for granted. I never realized how truly fortunate I was to play until I started playing here. And now, every time I step on the court, I feel the same happiness I did when I was 12 years old. I now finally understand that old adage, winning isn't everything. And it's true. At the end of the season, only one team ends their last game with a victory. Of course, I want nothing more than for that to be my team. But the game of basketball is so much more than winning or losing. It's a part of who I am. Williams basketball is a part of who I am and always will be. Being on a team here is not just about what happens in the locker room or the weight room or on the court from 4 to 6 every day. It's about the bonds you make as friends. Basketball has given me true happiness in my past 3 years here. It has given me memories I'll never forget, but more importantly, it has given me the opportunity to meet so many people who have truly changed my life for the better. In 20 years, I probably won't remember how many games we won my junior year in college, but I will remember the 15 girls I won them with. I am proud to wear purple. I am proud to be an Eve. Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank everyone who got up early this morning to go to practice at 7:30, 8:30, and still, stayed awake and came here today. Good job. Thank you. We appreciate it. When Will and Sydney asked me to speak on this panel to try to connect athletics to claiming Williams Day and to speak about how athletics has helped me claim Williams, I had a few thoughts. One is you see it here already today. I think sometimes at Williams or in the world, sometimes athletics is seen as sort of a monolithic group. It's clearly not. We each have our own story, our unique experience, and we bring all of those differences and bring ourselves to practice every day. To tell my own story, I need to jump back in time a bit. In middle school and high school, for me, athletics provided me with my earliest experiences of discrimination, actually. And women of my age, I think 1 or 2 of you out there know what I mean. When I was in middle school, girls had almost no opportunity to participate in team sports. And in high school, although there were opportunities, we literally wore the boys' old uniforms, did not have access to the training room, had the last choice of venues and times to practice and compete. While this was frustrating and confusing, this is also where I started to tap into my sense of injustice, frankly, and also into the power of activism. I began to campaign for fairness and access for girls and women in sport, and I found my voice and strength in advocating for girls' right to play and to be treated fairly in sport. Since then, my dedications to issues of access have grown. At Williams, I learned from my athletes and my colleagues about many types of discrimination and the pain they experience. These lessons involved issues of race, gender, sexual orientation, mental health, ethnicity, religion, sexual identity, sexual assault, and substance abuse. I also started to learn, which I had been oblivious to, about my own privilege. There are places where I'd had a lot of privilege in my life, and I enjoyed that privilege. These experiences shaped much of my early career. As I strove to bring change where I could, it was actually a rather annoying thorn in my AD's side. I don't know if he's here. He would attest to that. But progress was made and is being made by a department and a college full of people who seek to care for their community. Williams, as has been spoken about, Williams has changed a lot, but there's still a lot of work to do. And I continue to address these issues both in athletics and higher education. In my role as chair and director of athletics, I hope to create a department that is diverse, open to all who want to participate, and is inclusive of difference. I was going to tell a little story. The most powerful experience I had in athletics was coaching my soccer team following the attacks of 9/11. Every afternoon I headed down to Coalfield, usually listening to NPR and really sad stories about the things that had happened. And I would arrive at practice at 4:15, either in tears or pretty close to tears, and trying to pull myself together. My team would start to arrive, and one by one, as I said, the athletes would arrive with smiles on their faces, ready to play, and looking at me with that, "What are we going to do today, coach?" face. And at the time, this was a time where we might have looked at each other and thought, why are we doing this? Why are we even playing this game? We instead came together, each with our own story, each with our own response, because the point was never more evident. The point was community. The point was activity in a beautiful setting. The point was loving and caring for each other and taking part in something that brought us so much happiness. The point was joy. So we claimed our athletic experience as something that we could count on to make us happy when so much around us was incomprehensible. So although we still work to create the perfect college and the perfect athletic department where all are welcomed and embraced, and I enjoy the work and the continuing education I get from Williams athletes and my colleagues, and through this work in this Purple Valley, in the Department of Athletics at Williams College, I have found community and I have found home. And I actually did it in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kadir Forbes. I'm a freshman at Williams, and this is my story. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I'm on the football team at Williams. I attended a private high school in Brooklyn called Poly Prep Country Day School. Coming from a private high school, I had the opportunity to experience a community pretty similar to Williams already. I was used to the small, close-knit, elite community in high school, which was a big factor of why I chose Williams. However, like every community, Williams has its conflicts as well. I think that being an African American male from Brooklyn, New York, I seem to always stand out no matter what. But I certainly have learned to embrace this uniqueness and pride myself upon it. I think that I've been exposed to so much, from my experience with neighborhood friends in Brooklyn to my experience in a predominantly white private high school with many privileged students. I've seen how a hardcore life in the streets starts and ends. I've had close family members and friends who turn to a life of crime, sometimes to support their families. And I've also seen these same family members and friends go away to jail, and I've even been to some of their funerals. But I've also had the opportunity to meet some of the wealthiest people in New York. I've had dinners and visited the elegant homes of some of the most respected businessmen that I know. I've traveled and vacationed in some of the most beautiful places. My experiences have allowed me to see both sides of the coin, and have certainly made me into the well-rounded person that I am today. I'm now able to look at people as individuals and avoid generalizing groups and labeling people. I'm more understanding of people's point of views, and I find myself eager to spread my knowledge and teach others when they are misinformed, and I hope that others would do the same for me. That exchange of knowledge is exactly what Williams is all about, and what this day is all about. I think that already in my freshman year, I had a chance to truly grow as a person here. I came into Williams with great ambition to get involved in everything. I was competing in football, building relationships with different people on campus, helping start clubs, all while balancing out my intense academics. So yes, I would say that my beginning here was pretty challenging. But my chemistry with my teammates is what has been instrumental in helping me persist. I knew that my football teammates were the go-to guys for any advice or assistance that I needed. There were no initial worries of who I should go to dinner with, go to parties with, or just hang out with, because they were always there teaching me, helping me, guiding me, and ready to embrace me for who I am. My relationship with my teammates gave me the comfort to reach out and build relationships with other people on campus. I think that the leadership that we have on our football team has given all the younger players, like me, true role models and something to truly aspire to be in the future. As we go forward, it's important for us to remember that our experiences make us who we are. Being able to accept our differences and remain united is the true essence of a community. Here's a little advice. Try to see the world from a different perspective. Try to see both sides of the coin. There's so many phenomenal people all around this campus, and I feel so lucky to have the opportunity to be around people like you. So I just encourage you all to reach out and take advantage of what we have here. Recognize and accept the differences. Pass down your knowledge. Learn something from someone else. Learn something about someone else. And I'll be sure to do the same. Thank you.
I'm Maya, I'm a senior, and I'm a little nervous, but. Do you ever wonder how people describe you to someone who has never met you? Imagine two people sitting in Paresky. A friend of yours brings you up, whether casually or pointedly, only to produce a blank look in the face across from them. What superficial monikers would come to stand for the complex individual that is yourself? In many ways, a process of simplification is inevitable, for fully encapsulating a person and all of their idiosyncrasies in words is difficult, if not impossible. However, in a community where these words, or rather their connotations, carry so much social significance, I have to say it's something I think about a lot. The thought that someone would say, "Oh, you know Maya, she runs track," is something that troubles me. The idea that my identity would be condensed to what I do between the hours of 4 and 6, well, really, as any track athlete will tell you, more like the hours between 9 and 10 and then maybe from 3 to 7, if not longer, that part of who I am would be privileged above all else is something that I find problematic, not just in some pseudo-vain sense of self-concern, but rather for what it means about the community that constructs a process of signification in which one's athletic participation becomes the signifier of who they are. The fact that this would happen at all, and we've probably all described someone that way, is indicative of the privileged place that athletics holds in our community. So, in speaking to you in the context of this panel about athletics, as an athlete, I am necessarily speaking from a place of privilege. I do so reluctantly because I am truly uncomfortable with the amount of power I have necessarily, if unknowingly, inherited simply because of the fact that I can quickly put one foot in front of the other and occasionally run over things without falling. My hope then in talking about my personal experience as an athlete here at Williams is not only to acknowledge this privilege, something I think that 40% of this campus is obligated to do as well, but also to dismantle it. I think that the biggest problem with the privilege of athletics is, for the most part, that it is unconsciously assumed. That is to say, most people who wield the power of being an athlete at Williams don't do their sport because of how it places them in a social ladder. Most athletes, at least the good ones, the ones that truly embody the characteristics of what it means to be an athlete, are athletes because they love their sport, because they are dedicated, and because they derive joy from competing. I know this is the case for me, and why I often find it so unnerving to claim my identity as an athlete. I don't think of myself as an athlete with a capital A. If I had wanted the glory that comes from absorbing the power of being a Williams athlete, I surely would have chosen a more glamorous sport. I don't think of my athletic participation in isolation, but rather an important influence in every aspect of my life, as something that enriches who I am in every respect. This is probably why I find the idea that someone would identify me by my athletic participation so troubling. It's not so much that I don't identify with the title, yes, I run track, but track is so much more than running to me. The lessons I've learned about perseverance, about hard work, mental toughness, and drive have unquestionably impacted every other part of my life. It's the reason I'm a successful student, why I strive to be the best in everything that I do. How I've learned to exist in this world, and not only exist but thrive is because of track. To me, this is the definition of what it means to be a student athlete. The idea that athletics, or academics for that matter, don't exist in isolation, but rather are part of a symbiotically constitutive relationship with the other things that make up who you are. That is how it should be, but unfortunately not always how it really is here at Williams. I am very much a student, and that will always be an identity I will claim and be proud to. I'm proud that I'm completing an honors thesis, that I'm on a first-name basis with many of my professors, and that I have a strong relationship in my academic departments. I'm proud not only of how I study, but what. However, while I've never heard anyone disparage or even question my athletic participation, I can't tell you how many times people make light of the fact that I'm a women gender studies major at Williams. The idea that one of those identifications would seem normal, if not praised, and the other funny, if not unthinkable, is problematic. And again, why I don't feel comfortable always identifying as an athlete, of assuming privilege that a part of me enjoys, but another part of me is denied. There are moments when I will proudly claim my athletic identity, in particular when people make large, sweeping generalizations about athletes at Williams, that they all sit in the back of the classroom, that they're the root of sexual assault, that they drink all the time. I will always interject as an athlete and state my personal offense. Everyone loses when stereotypes rule. For me, the personal and very much political choice to defend athletics in this context is a vital tactic in dismantling athletic privilege. Part of the reasons that athletics hold such a privileged spot in our community is that it has come to resemble a class, one in which similarities rather than differences come to typify a large group of people, differentiated from others by these shared characteristics. By questioning the similarity, the bonds that hold this class can begin to loosen, and the privilege that's a byproduct of this formulation can also lessen. I will always remember March 11th, 2011 as one of the happiest days of my life. I'll never forget the joy I felt, tears welling in my eyes, as I saw my teammates running the final laps of the distance medley relay, and realizing that I was just part of an all-American relay team. In a sport where every second is defined by physical pain, where if it doesn't hurt, you aren't doing it right, where you work so hard just to hope that maybe you'll run a fraction of a second faster, or throw or jump a fraction of a meter longer, it's moments like these where you see the physical manifestation of all that hard work, that pain and that dedication that make it all worth it. But another day I'll never forget, a day that I also cried with joy on the busy corner of 14th Street and Union Square East, was the day I found out I got into Williams. For me, Williams represented the place where I could let every single part of myself thrive. And that's why I wanted to go to school here. While I was so happy that I made a fool of myself in the middle of a particularly crowded intersection in the middle of Manhattan. Then, for me, to claim Williams is to claim prosperity in every different, perhaps even diverse, part of myself. However, in my time here, I've also learned that thriving and complacency are not the same thing. So, to effectively grow, I've also come to realize the importance of being self-aware, if not self-critical, of the position I found myself in as an athlete. So, when I think about how I hope people describe me when they're sitting in Paresky or anywhere else, I hope that my athletic participation is not used simply out of convenience or due to some adherence to larger conventions about what being an athlete should mean. Athletics should define us as athletes in whatever way we choose, and obviously what that means is different for everyone. When we let the identity of athletics define who we are, instead of defining it for ourselves, we not only uphold the privilege of athletics, but also detract from our ability to fully express ourselves. Only by thinking critically about our own personal relationship to athletics can monikers cease to be superficial and become substantive, reflect complexity rather than perpetuate hierarchies. Thank you.